What's up, guys? It's Daz here. But you don't really care. As you can see, we've annotated the entire East Necluda region with all the Koroks and a good chunk of treasures. And as per usual, we're going to go from the southernmost point up to the north and maybe do some swings to the west and to the east. Now, as with treasures, we've only gotten the southern half of the whole map actually annotated with treasures because we have more than 100 pins on the map now, and the game doesn't like us putting any more than that. So wait later in the video where we will add the second half of the map with treasures, but otherwise, let's get started with our southernmost treasure, which is way down on the... actually, that's just a little bit on the tail of the bottom of the island, but it's more in the water. Let's go. Hold your horses, actually. We're going to go to Tenoko Island first, the one with a little shrine in the middle of nowhere, because I just completely missed there's a bunch of treasures nearby. I've marked them with pins on the map if you need that as a little assistance. But the first one can be found way down south, still in the region, but just about, and it is grabbable with magnesis. The next one we're going for is just a little bit southwest of the island, but not too far, simply floating on the surface. Next one is northwest of the island, underneath the water. And the final one is still east even, but only a tiny bit. It's, again, underwater. And one more northwest of the actual island, underwater. This took me a while to get with Cryonis, but, oh well, it happens. The best place to put a treasure chest, every time. Right, now that those are done, there are two more in the sea that we could get, but we're going to go for the ones down south of Loshlo Harbour. We ended up actually going for the ones north because I lost my bearings, but the first one can be found around about here underwater. And this guy can be found underwater. You can kind of see the islands for reference if you need it. And the final one in this sea series, if you can really call it that, is simply slightly underwater just by the shore rocks down on the eastern part of the whole clump of whatever this is. Don't know the official name of these sort of rock formations, but whatever. Okay, so here we are now, starting off. The underground treasure here is just a little bit south of the island. It's pretty hard to miss if you're on the tail end. Oh, thank you. So now that we're done with that treasure, we're actually going to go and start doing everything from west to east, then go a little bit north, then west to east, like we're scanning the whole region. So next up, we're going to the far west by Rozondo, Mount Rozondo, or whatever it's called on the map. And it's an enemy encampment. Now, if you shoot the metal boxes with a shock arrow, it will shock everything in the region, which is pretty cool. Next up, we're going southeast, so we are southwest of the Marblod Plains. Kind of horrible to describe, but you know what I mean. It's on that mountain edge there. So here we are. There is actually a secret cave by the Marblod Plains that hides a body of water with a chest on the surface, allowing us to grab it. Also a whole bunch of stones, which I'm going to use bomb arrows on in a moment. Next up, we're going to go northeast of Marblod Plains. There is 2 enemy encampments for us. Now that these enemy encampments are done, we're going northwest to this little cliff down here and onto the little land that's waiting for us at the bottom. The treasure's just stuck in the ground. Next up, we're going a little bit northwest so that we are on the looping track. Now, the treasure here can simply be found inside the hut here. The 3 treasures can be found underwater. Although actually the third one is actually on the surface of the water, but it's still pretty much the same thing. Now that those are done, we're going further to the east, so we're actually in Hateno Village. The treasure in Hateno Village can be found just a little bit east of the main hotel. It is in the water. Next up, we're going to Katana Bay. It is again in the water. They love their treasure chests in the water, don't they? Next treasure we're going for is in the Hateno Beach on the east side of Hateno Bay. Now, the treasure in this place we actually already got when we did the side quests back when we were in Hateno Village for the first time, so I'm going to skip over it, but it's just an enemy encampment. Next up, we're going to the other side of the little island-ish tail, east side of it. This guy's underwater. And now that we're done with that, we're going to go far off to the west and do another loop from the east, and probably quite a thick one too. So we're going right to Fort Hateno, where there's 3 treasures in one. So the first treasure we're actually going to go for here is actually way up on the mountain just north of Fort Hateno. There's a bombable rock, and behind that, a treasure chest. Next one's at the base of that same mountain. Again, another bombable rock and a chest inside there. 2, in fact. And the third chest in this region is actually up high on a tower, just a little bit south of the last 2. Or 3, I guess, technically. Right, now that those are done, we're going to the Cliffs of Quince. Right up to the top, practically. Except, actually, that's not the case. We're going underneath it. The treasure is part of an enemy encampment. Just kill them all. Next up, we're going northeast on the eastern part of the main path. The treasure can be found just pretty much on the path behind a bombable rock. Next up, we're going down to the Camphor Pond. And hey, it's in a body of water, so of course it's going to be magnetizable from underwater. Next up, we're going to go to the Nevada Lake, or Nevada Lake. All the treasures in this lake are underwater. Let's go. The next treasure we're going for is actually a little bit north of Hateno Village along this mountain edge here. Behind it is up it is a bombable rock. Behind that is a chest. You can see Hateno Village in the background for reference. Now that that's done, we're going further east, so we are further in more north parts of the Hateno Village. We're going to west of Lake Summit, which I believe is actually on the farm land. Okay, so I've been looking for this treasure for a long time. I just cannot find it for the life of me. So I'm going to call it a bust. If anyone can help me find it, let me know. But otherwise, that's a lost treasure. And now we've updated the map. We're now going to go through the main pathy area of water in the center of the area. So we're going to start from the west of there. So because that is a miss, the next treasure we're going to go to is far to the west, sort of. This treasure is just on the southern edge of the mountain, behind a bombable rock. Next up, we're going to actually get onto this main path and make our way along it, starting from the northwest peak of it. The first chest can be found underneath the main path, floating on the surface. The second is underwater, a little bit along the path, not too far though. Third is actually on the other side of the water, behind a tree. Fourth is underwater again. The fifth, I believe we already got when we last went along the Lanayru path, when we finished Kakariko and Hateno Village, right at the beginning of our journey. So I'm not going to go to it now, because it's already gone. Next treasure is on the other side of the coast again, on this tiny little island, on the west part of the main well. Next is down south of the water, under the water. Moving further along the east, again we're going back underneath the path again. There are some on the surface. before another one is just on a little formation on the other side of the coast again, and the final one to the very far east is once again underneath the path on the surface. Right, now that Lanayru Promenade is done, we're going to go through Mount Lanayru, which, believe it or not, there's very little of, so we're just going to go on the east coast of it all, because there's no treasures on it for some reason. The treasure can be found on the western end of the mountain, behind a bombable rock, inside that little cavern it creates. Along with a few crates and stuff. Alright, and on that note, we have now completed all of the treasures in the entire Lanayru/East Necluda region. No, not Lanayru at all, just Mount Lanayru. Lanayru's the Zora region. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to end it off here. For now, mine has been Daz. You didn't really care, and I will see you in a bit.